Bye. Okay, right. Good evening, all. Meeting of the Fairlight Parish Council Finance and Administration Committee today. Right, number one. Apologies for absent. We haven't got any. You're here, Stephen. You said you weren't going to be here. You're going to be late, probably.
Later.
Yeah, I can see. Okay. Code of conduct and disclosure of interests. Anyone got any?
Yes, I have.
Lee? Yeah.
Yes, I'm a member of the village people, not the group, but the local people.
Okay, fine, thank you. Anyone else? So are you? You declaring an interest as well? Yes. Linda's declared an interest. In the market guidance. Right, two things on code of conduct and disclosure of interests. Can I please, as of today, we now have the clerk. For those of you who haven't met Danielle, this is Danielle. Lee, Sarah, Dominic, Lynn, you know me, Jeff, Stephen and Michael. We have got name tags, unfortunately, to go on the board, but Danielle's been very busy today trying to catch up on the last 2 months where I've cocked everything up. So, sit down there.
Can we record a formal welcome, Chair?
Okay.
She's got to write it down. Formal welcome.
Okay. Pardon? Yeah, that's right. The other thing was, Danielle is very good. She's done some excellent work. She's been at my place for last 3 days last week, the first 3 days. We've cracked on and we've done quite a lot. We now have access to the accounting package for which we did September's yesterday. Yesterday. And Daniel finished it off and has produced the monthly reports for September, which will come out in November. Can you please, if you're going to send emails, please don't send me the emails. They should all go through the clerk. All right? Danielle is the one that decides whether or not who should get them and how they should get them. If you want to specifically send me an email, by all means, but make sure that the clerk does get a copy, but they should all go through the clerk to start with. Okay? Right, public questions in respect of items on the agenda. We have had a public letter asking us why on point 9 we have had to purchase a laptop, etc., etc. Nothing about the desk and the chair or the printer, but the new laptop. Was it a chair?
It was the printer and the laptop.
Oh, the printer and the laptop. Okay. For which Danielle has replied very politely. It's probably just as well that she did it as well as it wasn't me, because I'd have told her where to go. So we'll move on to. There was no other public questions. Anyone else got any? No, there's only one public. Jeff, you're effective. Go on. No. Yeah, I'll do that when I get down to the bottom. That's right. It's fine. Thank you. Right, minutes of the meeting held on. Right, the reason there's no date there is because when I looked at the website for the minutes of the last finance and administration meeting, there was June. I assumed, rightly or wrongly, that was the last date, which is why I sent you all out June's minutes. There was a meeting in July. I can find no minutes for the July meeting whatsoever. So I can't answer where they are or what's happened to them. They are not on the computer. There's no hard copy. I don't have anything. So I can't say, can I sign it and it's all right, because I don't know what was, I can tell you what was on the agenda, but I didn't think to print that out and go through it. I thought that's just going to waste a lot of time, because people have probably said we'll do that and we're not going to do that. the rest of the old parish council aren't here other than
Sorry,
Stephen and Lynn. Yeah,
it's not to interrupt. So you found an agenda but no minutes.
I found an agenda, there are no minutes.
Perhaps it didn't take place, that's what I'm thinking, because all
It
of
didn't
them...
say that.
Hmm?
It didn't say that it hadn't
No, but I'm just thinking the agenda would have come out
in July.
in beginning of July, but they all departed.
Yeah, that could be the case, but I don't know, 'cause
No.
I can't find anything, so one assumes that's probably the case.
Can anybody remember what date they resigned on? It was about then, wasn't it?
Yeah, they resigned after the July meeting, wasn't it?
It was after the... Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so the finance meeting
They
would have been
resigned straight after
before.
the July meeting.
Yes, no, so it would have been before they was held.
Was that the one, Steve, where they elected, that we were only there on sufferance, and we weren't there on the basis that we could say anything because we weren't members of the...
No, we could say something, we couldn't vote.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, so if it didn't take place, hang on just a second, if it didn't take place, then we do have to agree to 2 minutes, because they haven't been,
They've not been...
not been agreed.
Have you got video?
I may have videoed that.
You may have videoed it.
Yeah.
Could you let me know and I'll put it, if everybody's happy, I'll move it to the 26th
Yeah.
at the end of the month, yeah, and just see if there's anything in there that we need to agree. However, there was only 2 councillors there, if there was going to be there, and where they are, I don't know, so I'll worry about it.
I'll let you know tomorrow, so.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I
Okay.
love this bit here though. It says minutes of meeting held on the 6th of February, this is June. Minutes of meeting held on the 6th of February 2024. Minutes be distributed, resolved to approve and signed. So only 4 months later.
All right, okay. Fine.
I'm just...
Okay, thank you. Good.
Steve, the
Yeah.
simple way, what was the date on your agenda of the meeting in July?
I don't know, I didn't print it out.
Right, so the 23rd of July was the
Finance meeting,
It says,
the parish
the
council
parish
meeting
government
where we
meeting, but the
had.
finance meeting would have been before that.
I
Yeah,
know,
that's
the point
the
I'm
one
making
before.
is that they resigned shortly after that, so if the finance meeting happened, if it was one that Lynn and I attended, then we know what they discussed, it was principally about recruitment.
Was it?
next
Okay,
meeting
well.
held on July 2nd, it says here.
Okay. Right, well, I've looked in several places. The problem that it's caused at the moment is that the website has not been updated properly. Okay, the website should have database and the website. The website goes to the database, drags the files, brings it in and prints it and puts it there. When you go to change the website, you don't change the website, you update the database. You make the next month, the previous month with a different date and the new file with the current date, so you don't have to change the website. What's been happening is when you create a website, if you're creating a small one, you can put all your files, pictures, everything into media, okay, and then you just drag the media into the website. It needs changing every month. If it's a big website like we have, you use it and put it in the database. And since I left in 2023, they've just been dumping all the stuff in the media files, not in the database. So when we come around to looking at the new database, the new website, there's lots of stuff that's got to be corrected and moved over. So that's the problem that it's caused. So I've got about 80, 90 files to look through to find anything, and I can't find it. You know, it's ridiculous. Okay, over to Jeff 6 to discuss and review the current year's budget.
Okay. First thing to really say is that it's obviously been a bit of a turbulent 2-3 months, which has reflected in the current year's budget. The most obvious big effect was for 2 months we've had hardly any expenditure whatsoever, when accounts was warped and also hauling wasn't being paid, well, hasn't been paid for 2 months. There's also other big effects, such as the War Memorial bill will be in any moment now, and we've also signed dish over to the FRA. So we're suddenly going to have somewhere in the region of, my maths is correct, for initially £17,000 will be going out of the account before VAT reclaimed for the War Memorial. The earmarked reserves, which we'll talk about afterwards, I think I didn't notice it on the agenda, but I've just seen it on the agenda. So, the deduction from the earmarked reserves in total, everything taken into account, will be 31,000 this year alone, because we had £15,000 expenditure on new swings in June, and with this lot it will be taking the earmarked reserves down by nearly 31,775. There's also been to date predicted that we can also say now to date the predicted year end will have quite a large under expenditure. This will mainly be on the salary budget, which should be, unless Danielle starts using hundreds of hours, should be around about £1,400 less than the last year's budget figure, or this year's budget figure, should I say, of 41,000. The audit, which was assumed would have cost a lot of money, the investigation this year didn't, will be saving 3,500. And the cliff generator electricity budget, a good guess now will be anywhere between £4,000 and £5,000 instead of the £12,000 allowed. The two.
Sorry, have we had
Go on.
have we actually had any bills from Rob?
We've had 2 bills to date,
Yeah.
which have only totalled a little over £2,000. Just to put people in the picture, that the £12,000 budget figure for this year was a total farce, really, for want of a better word. What happened the year prior, we refused to pay a very large bill from Rother for the lift generation, because normally they come in, they've always been about 1,500 3 times a year. All of a sudden we got about a £7,000 bill, if I remember correctly, which is because Rother put 2 bills together after the electricity hike. If you following me?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of money. It wasn't paid that year because we refused to pay without a bigger breakdown. So it got paid the year after. So last year's electricity billing did come to £13,000 that financial year. So they guessed about £12,000 would cover it this year, but they didn't seem to realise that actually £7,000 technically was from the year prior. So I think the the saving will be around 7,500, and we'll only be expecting bills of about 4,500 this year, going by what's come in to date. So that is nearly £25,000 saving off the expected budget expenditure. However, there will be a few costs that we're now going to incur which weren't planned for. The French drain work on Woodfield, I don't know if anyone's been up there and seen it. It's all been unearthed, the original stone part of the French drain, but it's pretty obvious now we need to refill up some stone because it's gone down in parts about 6 inches and it's a trip hazard.
What about the quote that we had prior to the French drain?
That was accepted by the Oak Council, so the work went ahead. Yeah,
We do have the quote to talk about later for
the
refilling it up.
restoning, right, yeah. So taking all into account and excluding the earmarked reserve monies paid out, I predict the end of year expenditure will only be about 78,000 against a budget of 99,595, a difference of over 21,000. unless we have any major asset expenditures between now and the rest of the financial year, we should be ending the year at a very healthy £137,000. But we must be aware that 46,000 of that is still money for the market garden. I've cross-referenced these sort of figures with what we have in our reserves and deducting the expenditure to the end of the year, and it's worked out to about that figure every way I work it. So round about 137,000. Then we will get half of whatever next year's precept in on top, which brings a small problem that will be over the 85,000 in one of the accounts. So that needs addressing. Because we're over at the moment, but any day we're going to be a lot under. And it's really, I must admit, it's something we've just inherited. But with the seal money, quite an important thing. We started the year with £9,860 £60 of seal money. Some of that was coming up to its 5-year expenditure. £5,000 was used towards new swings back in June when that bill went out, leaving 4,860 original earmarked reserves from the beginning of the year, but £900 of that has to be spent by next March, otherwise we will lose it, because there's £900 worth still hanging over, coming up to its 5th anniversary, and if you haven't spent it in 5 years, you lose it.
Can you, is that, sorry, I'm really unclear on myself. Is it possible to use that for restocking the playground,
Yeah.
with all the wood and all that?
That would be legitimate usage for it.
So all that work's been done on the side by you guys will be...
Anything like that, anything to do with the infrastructure, it can go against Bill. There's an annual return you've got to do. Me and Steve's just done it a couple of weeks ago, where then you have to list exactly what it was spent on and date.
Do we know how much that costs?
Oh, well, we'll soon get rid of £900 on that stuff between now and March. I'm not worried about that.
It's worth considering. There's been a lot of talking on the site about the steps going up Woodland Way
Yeah,
into Knoll Wood.
yeah. Me and
Would
Dominic
that be
started
a
to look into that.
prime example of where that 900 would go?
Yeah, you can use it for maintenance. You can use it for maintenance.
And it kills
Of
two
anything.
birds with one stone, because there's complaints going on, and Michael is taking up the challenge with highways, etc. But it would seem that they're not going to do it immediately, and the problem is immediate.
Yeah.
So it's a quick way of...
Yeah, no,
getting
Jeff
that 900.
and Dominic are looking at that, and they'll be doing that within.
We've had a look, and we'll sort something with Michael. And
Huh?
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll have a word with those people in
No,
the
there's
authority
no-
of rights of
there's no-
way.
Yeah.
It's a rights of way thing, so
Oh, right.
well, I assume it's off the road.
Yes, oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, okay. The likelihood of them actually doing something in the foreseeable future is pretty close to zero, because they have such a small budget these days.
But it's very
But
slippery.
we might be able to get some indication as what will be a good answer to it, a good solution, by contacting them and showing them the photograph and saying, well, what will be the best solution to this, even if it was just a short-term one, prior to something more substantial at some later date. But I think initially we'd have to do something ourselves. If it seemed to be an urgent problem, then we'd have to take care of it.
It's a nightmare coming down, it's always going up.
Yeah, it's always coming down. It's the problem from
it'll be on the November agenda without fail, and we'll have answers by then, hopefully. So basically, at the moment in SIL, we still have a total of £51,403.
You said on that other thing, extra 3,133 extra seal money.
Yeah, it came in like the market garden side.
That was a bit extra, isn't it?
The market garden site to date has been 46,542 and 94 pence.
Don't forget the
Is
94
that
pence.
including that 3,100?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Do we know why it comes in books and things?
I've no clue.
No, we didn't
They
get done.
just sent me in the money and can appear on the bank statement.
But the usage, obviously, for those who don't know, the usage of this SIL money is tightly controlled and can only be used on the following. That's the provision or the improvement or the replacement or operations and maintenance of infrastructure or anything else concerned with addressing the demands that that development which took place, which could be one house in this case, majority is Market Garden, has placed on the area. It is not permitted to spend SIL money on other expenses. Other costs must come from general reserves or earmarked reserves or raised through budget precepts.
So just to add what Jeff said, if I can, that if there was room up by the side of the Market Garden site for a car park, we could arrange for that to be done and come out the SIL money that we got from the Market Garden site. So if it was just there and then there was space next door, which they were just going to leave bare, we could arrange to have it tarmacked, lined out for that purpose. So it's anything to do with parking. You can't put white lines because that belongs to highways. If highways say no, you can only have white lines if you have the whole village done. Yeah, that's probably going to eat that SIL money 2 or 3 times over, more than likely. But as Jeff said, that's purely just for infrastructure stuff. Yeah. I have asked the question whether or not we could use it to create a new website, because the new website is approximately the top of the notch. The new website is about £1,000. To create the website is 3 weeks. To load the data, it depends how quick I can type, or how quick Graham can help. If Graham helps as well, it just depends on how long. But 3 weeks just to create the website, that's all it is. Sorry, Jeff, carry on.
That's right. So anyway, previously when this SIL money was going to be known that it was coming in, the previous council did try and hold a sort of village questionnaire of what people think it could be spent on. To the best of my knowledge, they got 2 replies.
4.
Sorry?
4.
I don't know.
No, they did get 4.
Oh, 4 replies. Sorry, I thought you said what 4.
No, I know when it's 4. I found that.
But
Yeah,
as I said,
just
for the
find out.
vast majority, we do have a 5-year timescale now to spend it. There's certain assets obviously in the village which have come up time and time again, which could be used for, such as the bus stops, benches, etc. A lot of the village assets. So future discussions should be had into the use of this rather golden opportunity to improve Fairlight for everyone. We need to be aware that on the Facebook sites, the assets and infrastructure of the, which I've just mentioned, has been questioned for months. We do have this opportunity to change that. That's all I can say, but it's obviously going to be, need to be spoken about how the expenditure actually happens. A very large amount, I don't think should be decided just by us. I think it should be agreed with by the village. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, these things are difficult. You put it out there on social media, whichever way you put it out, and you only get a handful of replies sometimes, and then more than that amount of people will come back moaning. But you've got to give people the opportunity. It's their money.
Could we have like an open meeting here for that to be discussed and we put ideas up there and see?
Yeah, I think so. I think you could do that. Yeah. Get Christmas, New Year out of the way,
Yeah.
and get some ideas.
Tell people it's
Right.
an open meeting with tea and coffee, not alcohol.
And biscuits.
Hot dogs.
No cake.
Okay.
Can we stick to the agenda?
Yeah.
please?
Bank balance.
Cake.
Bank balance as of October, because we don't have anything exact statements after that, is NatWest was 105,000, Unity Trust 80,500. That's not to the pound. That is educated guess, because we haven't had full statements. Being a total of 185,500. It's got to be noted that this is over one account is over the FCSC limit
Just a tad.
of 85,000, which is in that West account. But imminent expenditures, probably by the end of this month, will see that reduced down to under 85,000 from the war memorial, etc. However, even if we go or accept quite a lowish precept next year of 75,000, there will be another 37,500 added on in April, which will put one of the accounts back over 85,000. My personal view is basically have 5 months to sort that out. We better sort it out after what happened to the last council regarding holding limits over the amount.
Okay.
Can I suggest that we look at that account that I keep talking about, whereby you just give it to these people, or we choose which, and they can choose whichever bank, or we can choose whichever bank accounts,
Right.
the RFO can.
I was going to say, can we leave that to the RFO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danielle has got the paperwork.
Excellent.
She has got a few ideas herself as regards to NatWest and Unity, which we will come on to a little bit later on anyway.
Okay.
Sorry, Jeff, carry on.
And I think it's going to say, so really at the start of next year, we will be very healthy with 174,500 in the account. At present, the EMR stands at 100,533, which will be reduced, as I kept mentioning, by the War Memorial and Dish by £19,000 overnight. But there will be this 3,113 being transferred into it under the sill from the market garden. So by the end of the calendar year, we should still have earmarked reserve fund of about 84,500. This will probably need to be addressed nearer the time. For those who are unaware, we have what's called general reserve money, and then we have earmarked reserve money. As a sort of rule, your general reserve is the money you're operating with. It's always been perceived, not necessarily agreed by every council up and down in England. They all work a bit different. But here, for years, it's been perceived that the earmarked reserves will take the majority of the money, and we just hold general reserves and running costs. There is sort of a NAUC advice do state that a parish this size should look at always having anywhere between 25 and 100% in your general reserve. So we are really flexible in how EMR works. But the auditor, however, would expect to probably see at the end of the year you only holding about 25% because of the imminent half-year precept about to come into the account. So really, looking at the amount of money we have, it's probably worthwhile addressing or putting more into the EMR towards the very end of the year. So when we are inspected, the auditor will only be seeing about 25% of the precept in your general reserve. Does that make sense to everyone?
And the balance that's left.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I said. That's about it for really where we are at the moment. Earmarked reserves, perhaps look at in the first meeting in January when we've decided, near enough decided what the precept will be, and Danielle can transfer over into earmarked reserves or however we want to work it.
So can I just interrupt, because I have, but just to explain to the new guys that the reason they say 25% is that's 3 months' money roughly. That's the rationale for that, because it gives you about 3 months' money.
Really, they look at it, the smaller you are, the higher percentage you should have in your general reserves. But the auditor does pick that up every year and makes a comment whether 2 years ago we were quite over. The last 2 years we've had round points saying you're dead on at about 30-35%.
According to Rialtus, when Daniel and I would, when Danielle was sitting there putting expenditure on, Rialto's, the guy at Rialto's did say when we finished, he compared what we currently got in terms of the budget and what we'd got left. He said it was very, very close. So we're okay.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing okay in that respect. Anyway, Jeff, shall I move on to discussing the allocation of earmark reserves, or I think you cover that, or you want to carry on?
Well, people, I can get it up for people to see.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Daniel done. Did you give the one that's for everyone? Daniel?
I was going to use it.
Daniel took the one from
I've got a couple more though. Yeah,
from Rialto's, but in fact,
sorry, I only printed. I didn't print them forever.
Pauline always ran everything by Excel spreadsheet. Whereas I don't know how much was cross-referenced with Rialto's. We'll soon be looking at just using Rialto's, I think, I believe. So what this is could become quite obsolete. But you can see that's the start of the year's funds, so that's what was agreed overall to start in April. And then you have transfers to EMR, so like any incoming SIL money, dish money used to go into EMR monthly. The Robber Lottery goes in monthly, and then transfers out, which would be big payments. That's why I said that 5,000 which went out for the swings. And that's what's come in, so that's all the market SIL money, and that's what we have in there at the moment. We'll go down on one screen now. So, yeah, sorry. So you can see the War Memorial Fund and you know, what's come in, there have been donations in, and what we've got in there at the moment. All of this is net, by the way. Whenever we talk about these sort of figures, they're always net. So like the War Memorial is a great example because the amount to go out is going to be £13,000 odd, but that's gross. And then you claim back 20% of the VAT, which goes back in.
Where does that go? The refund in?
back into Kent.
It goes back into reserves, does it? Or
It goes back into reserves, general reserves.
Right.
But for something specific like the War Memorial Fund, you know, we might have an agreement and it goes back into the War Memorial Fund. Which you would have to do anyway, because otherwise it would make it a negative figure at the moment. Yeah, so that's how, you know, we've looked at it over the years and it's all just broken down into different things. But saying soon we'll be going over to Rialto's. So at the moment, I don't think there's any need to do any transfers in or out, because there's plenty in there to spend. One of the ones which I do think, you know, is the replacement of fixed assets. Well, it's had 12,000 in that for 6 years. And yet you've got stuff in the village which needs addressing.
And it hasn't been done,
And it hasn't been done.
despite being mentioned in 2019. It will get done because that's what the village people want.
And,
I say village. Sorry, Jeff.
Sorry.
I said village people. I don't mean village people. It's what the residents of this village
Yes.
want. They want things done, and they're only interested in seeing what's done. They're not interested in all this. We are, and we have to be, but they want to see something physical done. And until we can get it done, I'm afraid some of the residents of this village are not on our side. I can't help it. I can't make it any better. I can't give them the fiver out of my pocket and say, you know, be happy.
Well, you could.
I could be coming from you, yeah. Go on, Jeff, say.
Just so people know, that's how earmark reserves have been tracked. which would be similar, I imagine that's similar to Rialto's printout, isn't it? When you're tracking the earmarked reserves?
I haven't got that far yet, if I'm
Yeah.
completely honest.
I think it would be. So these are just the calendar year and what comes in and what goes out each month. So I don't know. I haven't got anything else to say about earmarked reserves. Anybody else?
Any questions for Jeff? No, I'd like to say thank you to Jeff because I haven't been a councillor for a year and a half, and so I know where we were at one point when I didn't come back on the council anymore, and I know just how bad it was then. And he spent an awful lot of time doing this, and I mean an awful lot of time.
But now it's over to Danielle.
Yes. And she will use a machine to do the calculations, you know, so she hasn't got to work anything out. We will be producing all the necessary reports out of Rialto's.
Yeah.
It will give you a budget report, years spent, last 3 years tracking, and the 4th year. So everybody will have everything. Okay. And to reiterate what Carl said when he took over here, we are open and transparent. And if a villager wants to see it, they've only got to talk to Danielle and they can see it any time that they want to. There's no hidden figures, there's nothing. All right? Okay, thank you, Jeff. Right, to discuss the village people and financial support. Stephen, do you want to start? There are some things that need to be addressed, but do you want to start?
Yeah, why not? I put a document around in September and we've had numerous discussions about the market garden and the impact on the people who live around it, not only today but going forward with regard to roadways, pathways, etc. It is clear that the village people, the group, need support. Now that support is most likely to be in terms of professional advice. Now originally we were talking about should it be legal, should it be professional. I think that as a parish council we should be looking to give them as much support as we can in terms of professional support, planning advice, building advice, that type of thing, because there are no professional individuals who are able to give that. There could be legal advice, but that would be advice, not action. And I think it's important to differentiate between the two. If the village people wanted to do any action, then I think that would be totally on their control. But I think that as a parish council, this is a clear and present issue that we, as a parish council, should be supporting them financially. Now, the proposal I put up a number of times is to make a contribution to them, a fighting fund, of £10,000. Now, why have I said £10,000? Because if you take professional advice in, let's say, planning or building, you're going to be looking at a couple of £1,000, £3,000, something of that order, certainly no more than that. If you go legal, then you're looking at a lot more money and it's unlimited, which is why I do not think that we should, as a parish council, be looking at legal funding. So my proposal is that we as a parish council make a one-off contribution of £10,000 to the village people as a group in order for them to take professional advice in areas where they do not have that. So they're working on their own. And I think that's the top and bottom of the financial bit. As I say, there's a big document. It's a one-page document I've done on all of the areas of it about planning, challenging, publicity. But in terms of this group, we've sat through the meeting presented by Anna. A lot of us have visited the Market Garden site. We've had tea parties where we've sat and listened to the Market Garden people talking about their travails. I think we owe them this to do for two reasons. Number one, because I think their they need our support, number one. They deserve our support, they are villagers. I think the second thing is that this isn't the first. This is a precedent. There will be further developments in this village or around this village where we need to be sure of what the planning processes are, how they can be challenged, how they can be dealt with. So I think that there's some precedent issues here that we should also be thinking about. So my formal proposal is that, and you know, without wishing to spend money in a non-thrifty way, this is probably the best time to consider this because there's a lot of money in the bank. We made a lot of, I mean, I hate to use the word in the parish council, but profit this year. So I think that it's an opportunity that we can take up. So that's my formal proposal, Chair, and I leave it to everybody to challenge me on that if you wish, or pose questions.
Questions from the floor?
My main thing would be that, you know, as I've just said, it can't come from the SIL money. I know it sounds ironic. It's from that we got the money, but we can't use it on just building up a fund to fight whatever it is we want to try and fight. Totally agree with supporting the British people, but so I'm not too sure where any sort of money would come from, and I'm unaware of all the procedures and processes and policies as well to make a comment and stuff.
Okay, I did send Stephen a copy of the policy. I take it that you read it, yeah? It relates to grants, donations to groups within the village. We cannot make grants or donations to an individual. Okay, we cannot do that. That's by law. The law says you cannot do that. I will not break the law. If the parish council seems to want to go down that route, then so be it, but you'll do it without me. We will not make a donation to an individual. As far as I'm aware, and I've spoken to Anna at great length on this, there is no constitution, there are no terms of reference for that village group. She's confirmed that there are none. I said to her, what I have said to her is, if the group had been formed some time ago, and you want the parish council to deal with it, then you are under the parish council guidance as to what to do. If you have representation in that group, somebody with the knowledge with regards to surveying or know people that can do the surveying, etc., then the parish council will listen to that. But what has to happen is that all communication, if any of this business has been done under parish council thank you, auspices, this parish council has not known what's been going on. I believe Lee Miller has not known what has been going on. No documents have been sent to him. The two of you are supposed to be working as a group for the parish council to find out what is going on. You as individuals have absolutely no power whatsoever to make any comments about paying things, organising things, or signing things. Everything has to come, if you're there as a parish councillor, it has to come back to the parish council for ratification. Yes, it's a long, drawn out problem. I can't control that, but that is the way. No, thank you. The RFO has just informed me we are not involved with the market garden site whatsoever. You please speak if you
I was just going to say, we were going to suggest
yes.
That if we were going to ask the council if they wanted to get involved.
Yeah, I've got that down here. I'm just explaining the other piece of it. No, it's okay. Thank you. You attended a meeting with Tim Groyan Andrew Meyer, and people from Rother,
I did indeed.
under
Yeah, that was
the, under
indeed
the
town
auspices
planners.
of the parish councillor.
I was invited by the district councillors to attend.
You have sent in the minutes of that meeting, for which I've got a copy of that minutes, and it says that in there the three councillors are having a discussion about it. That implies that you've attended there under the auspices of the parish councillor.
I was a parish councillor and attended, yes.
No. That is incorrect. You may have attended as parish councillor, but you have not informed the parish council of things that have gone on. Anna has told me, and I've got the documents here from Anna, as to what has gone on.
Mhm.
You cannot act on that information, or in that group. It's not fully constituted. You cannot act as a parish councillor without asking the parish council whether or not you can do anything. The normal way of things that happen is, if a group is set up within the parish council, that group has terms of reference set to them by the parish council. They cannot make any decisions. The land group, they cannot make any decisions. Any of any other groups, they cannot make any decisions. They can sit and talk about it and say, well, it would be nice if we did this, or if we could do that. Fine. Put it down in the minutes, bring it back to the parish council. They are the ones that decide whether or not it happens. You cannot do anything or sign anything. With regards to...
Nothing has been done or signed.
Right, so...
In fact, Chair, if I can just be precise about that, at the previous meeting, which was not a public meeting, I raised the issue there and gave full detail of what happened. I gave full detail of that.
I've got the minutes here.
Yeah.
But it says on the bottom, on the fourth or fifth line up, that the three councillors will decide on what's going on. And you are the three councillors, or one of the three councillors. You have not informed the parish council of what you're doing. No, at no stage. You have been told at least 3 times, to my knowledge, and once in a parish council meeting, that you cannot make decisions on behalf of this parish council. You cannot even say, well, I'll do this. The 3 quotes I understand that you've got for the external survey, has it been paid for?
No, there's been no payment made.
So there is no payment made?
No.
Okay, then I'll ask this parish council, do you want to be involved with the market garden site in relations to getting the survey, external survey done? What will that involve? If you say yes, what that will involve we will take the 3 quotations that you've got from there. We will first of all ask Gem Select, who own the property, whether or not we can have access. If they say no, that's the end of the story. You won't get in. We can then write to Rother.
When you say you, Chair.
No, I don't mean.
No,
okay.
your
Parish
language there
council.
was, when you said you, I don't want to get access to the market garden site.
Well, somebody's going to if they're going to, if you're doing
Yeah,
in an internal external survey, somebody will need to.
Yes.
It will be one of those 3 people. One of those 3 people, those quotes that you've got, will need to have access to that site. If Gem Select say no, you can't go to Rother. We can't give money to pay off one of those quotes because the statutory body that's looking after the market garden site is Rother.
Yeah, very well.
Right, so we can't pay for that. What we can do is, if this council want to take on board anything to do with that, we will say to them, we will take those quotes, we will ask Gem Select if we can have access. If we don't get access, will we ask the head of Rother Planning if we can have access? If we have access, that's fine, then we can go ahead and we can deal with it. But it's under the auspices of the parish council,
Of course.
not any longer under the village people. We will be guided by the external survey, Gem Select and Rother. We don't have an option. There is no other way of even thinking about paying for that external site survey. It cannot be done. Any comments from
Well, with due
anyone?
respect, that is not my proposal.
We're not putting, it's up to the parish council if they want £10,000 put aside for market garden site, that's up to them, not up to me. I'm talking about the information that I have had over the last week and a half with regards to market garden site. And if you want me to be blunt, I'll be blunt, but I'm not going to be. I've been told that I must be a nice person, and I'm being a nice person. You've acted not correctly.
So these three quotes, how,
I think the first thing to do is decide whether the parish actually wants to be involved,
Yes.
Correct, that's my proposal.
but not necessarily just giving the.
Right, if-
Like Steve said, we're
Thank
unable
you.
to give the village people
Can't do it, can't do it.
£10,000 because they are classed as individuals.
That's fine.
Um,
If you can't do it, you can't do it. Then you reject the proposal.
No, no, the proposal, sorry, the proposal is what you've said, putting £10,000 in a kitty for a market garden site.
Correct.
Right, that's not what we're talking about. Just carry on, anyway, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just,
I suggest that the first protocol is where the gym set is on the site, if they say no, and other district don't help, then it's dead in the water.
Okay, that's point taken, Lynn. But if Gem Select come back and say yes, okay, so there's £1,600 to start with for that, and we've got to rely on Rother to do something about it. And so far I've heard that they've been told best wait until it's all been signed off. It then becomes a civil matter, which has nothing to do with us.
The point-
What's the next cost after the £1,600?
Well, reading through that email I had, they weren't happy, the village people weren't happy on the type of survey, meaning it was all done remotely and didn't require a visit to the site, which is not what was requested. So this £1,600 for a survey that's not wanted, I'm sure, Stephen's Vanner, they don't want that. They want a survey where it's done properly, not with a tape measure and a few tools. They want a proper survey, which won't be £1,600.
Correct.
It will be, with £1,600 for a day with a guided computer, what's it going to be for someone to actually go round and measure it correctly?
So just if I may, at the last parish council meeting, I delivered a report on the meeting with Rother District Council Planning Department, and I articulated exactly that was the issue, that the surveyor from the Rother District Council, who've gone off my proposal, but I'll cover this, the Rother District Council surveyor did a survey, a report survey, which was asked for by Councillor Tim Groan. It was not delivered in the requested way. Now that report was done by, as Councillor Miller said, was done by a spirit level and a tape measure. And that's all they used. And that was a on-site report. Now the fact of the matter is that should be challenged, and that was challenged in the meeting.
For which, sorry, just to interrupt, for which the parish council didn't know was going to take place.
What, the meeting of the...
Between you, Andrew Meyer, Tim
It
Groyd and
wasn't
Rother.
between, Chair, forgive me correcting you, the meeting was reported by Councillor Groner and Councillor Meir.
after the event?
After the event, but we didn't know that there was one taking place. Certainly not with you going there.
They did report it, and they invited me the day before and said, would you like to attend?
Right, but that's okay, but
No,
you should have gone there as not as a parish councillor, because the parish council did not know.
Not asked.
We weren't asked. I've got the minutes that you wrote as well, so, and I don't have a problem with them, other than that one line went to the bottom, where it says the three councillors, that's you, Tim Groyn, Andrew Mayer. So you were there under the auspices of the parish council.
I was invited, I'm the representative of Market Garden, as elected by this parish council. So, I was fulfilling a responsibility that I thought I had.
Right, and what documents did you sign then?
Nothing.
You signed nothing?
Nothing.
You even put your name towards the internal surveyor?
I have signed no document on behalf of this parish council.
But there was no document produced, was there, from what was said after
No,
the event?
what was
by both
said,
Tim- I'm speaking.
yes,
What was said after the event by Tim and Andrew was that they were waiting for the document and it didn't materialise, and they were waiting for it to be presented afterwards. So there was no documents at all. So I'm confused now about what surveys we're talking about. So Lee, you were talking about this robbery.
I think, reading because I was a kid on the way, so I picked up all second hand. This second survey, not the Oxley one, and it was talking about that there is a potential bill to be paid. Now I don't know. I'm just going from the wording that she says. I don't know. This is purely from an email that there was a bill to be paid, which hasn't been paid.
That's
It may be
not
due.
the Rother one, this is a
No,
private
this
one
is the
that
private
people
one
that
to
Steve
engage.
suggested.
So have we engaged somebody? Have we actually got a
This is,
liability?
there are 2 or 3 things going on here, and there is a tangible inspector. Firstly, you asked me about this meeting with Robert. It was reported. I was invited as a guest. I attended as a guest.
That's not what it says on the document here.
I
It says, action agreed by meeting of the 3 councillors. That includes you. That implies, you wrote it, not me.
Yeah.
That implies
I
you
know,
were
right.
there as a parish councillor.
And I was invited to attend, and I'm responsible for the market garden on this committee. I did a report, therefore people did know what happened. Councillor Miller has been away, so it's difficult to talk to somebody when they're away. So I reported what happened. Now, what was given at that meeting was a report by a guy called Lloyd Exley. That report was not accepted by Councillor Groner or Mear as being the appropriate item. Now, I was going to report this at the next meeting, but I have actually made a Freedom of Information request on behalf of this council.
Without notifying the
Ask for
parish
Freedom of
council.
Information request. That's a freedom.
Not from the parish council, you haven't. It should come from the clerk, not
Fine.
you.
The clerk wasn't appointed at that point.
I know I was doing the clerk, so I'm the chair at the time.
Okay, fine. So there's a lot of confusion about who was doing what at the time. But on behalf of the council, on behalf of the people of this parish, please don't shake your head, Lynn, I was doing things on behalf of people, and if procedurally that's wrong, emotionally and morally it was wrong. So, I've made a proposal, I asked for it today, I've raised this on a number of occasions. So, the request to do an extra building survey, which has not been enacted, nothing has been enacted on a building survey.
So you're not out of pocket for it then?
I've paid nothing for a building survey,
Okay.
end of story.
Right, then sorry.
The request for a building survey is because councillors Groner and Mear, who are your planning representatives on the Rother District Council, did not accept that the building survey was appropriate. So they want another document to be produced. Now, there's no building survey taking place, that's whatsoever.
Okay, so we're back to where we started from. Your proposal is that 10,000 be put aside for the market garden site.
Yes.
Dean, sorry, I've got a real link in my brain, I can't.
That's all right, carry on.
Together.
Yeah.
At the last meeting, Councillor Baker, Steve, said about the Rother inspection,
Yep.
and it wasn't what was wanted, etc., etc. And you said you had asked for an independent survey. So I'm a bit lost. Is that one of these 3 quotes?
No, not at all. The quotes we're talking about planning. There's 2 issues here. One is about planning, one is about building. Now, I'm talking about proposal on this financial department. If we want to talk about the market garden, what's happening, quite happily to do so. But what has been requested by the village people was a report by a planning inspector to give advice on whether the planning issues have been appropriately dealt with. It's nothing to do with building whatsoever. Building is to do with things like height of the buildings, none of that's handled. It's all about, that's about planning, separate issue altogether.
So has there been a planning? No, I'm lost, sorry, I'm confused. I thought a independent report was already initiated. from
An
the
independent
investors.
report has been asked for by a planning consultant.
Right,
Yes, but it's not a building report, it's a planning report.
And how far is that gone?
As far as I'm aware, the final report has been produced by the planning inspector and sent through to the village people.
Is that
And I reported this when we sat here at the last meeting.
yeah.
I went through this in front of everybody who is here. There was no record being taken of it. At the last meeting, I explained exactly that position.
So is that the 1,600 that Anna's talking about?
Well, I'm just going to quote, who is ASP Consultant?
That's the consultants that delivered the planning report.
Right, okay.
And who asked for them to produce the planning report?
I did. I wrote them.
On behalf of the parish council?
No, I wrote it on behalf of,
But you were at a meeting where you are, and you were in attendance as the parish councillor.
which one are we talking
Wait.
about, Robert?
Yeah, right. But you did not inform the parish council that that's where you were going. You did not inform them. You did not inform either me or the vice chair that you were going. Assumptions have been made that you have asked for the quotes, for the 3 quotes.
I have done that, but that's been reported, Steve.
No, sorry, not to the parish council, you haven't.
What, you mean in writing? Or
No,
verbally?
no, it has not been reported
Well,
to
forgive
the
me,
parish
that's not
council.
true. That's not true.
I didn't know about it.
That's not
Did
true.
anybody else know about this?
Yes.
No,
If somebody
last
doesn't-
meeting,
If somebody doesn't want to own up to that, then I'm not going to but somebody does know that I would, because I discussed it with them.
He's not guilty.
well, I know about the independent report,
Which is
Yes.
the one which Steve spoke about at the meeting,
Yes.
the other one.
That's the rather one.
No.
Planning one.
No,
planning.
Yeah.
yeah, planning, ASB.
My brain's been a bit confused by thinking the same planning one and the building one.
That's the
To
one.
me, it's all part of the same.
That's what Stephen's saying is the report's being produced.
Yes,
And that's the £1,600 that.
and I'm more than happy, because it's literally half the press, more than happy to share this around, but it has gone to the village people, and the village people is chaired by, as you know, Paul and Anna, and it's their responsibility to send it around, not mine.
I mean, is it permissible to read an extract from the email or not? The alleged-
I'm still
or
confused.
not?
That makes 2 of us, Jeff.
We're all in agreement, are we, or are we not in agreement that Steve Baker mentioned he has requested an independent report at the end of the last meeting?
I must admit, I don't remember that.
Is this the October one?
Yeah,
I think,
I do
Yeah.
remember it.
But that was- but that wasn't, what my point is, at the end of the day, it wasn't asked of the council, we were just told
Yeah.
that one's going to happen. And
Yeah.
at that time, I presume the village people
Yes.
village people know,
Well,
have seen the brief,
were,
they've seen the brief, they've approved
voted
the
it.
brief, it was sent off to the, we found a number of planning consultants, 3 of them, one of them was appointed, they delivered the report, and at the last meeting we sat here, and I can even tell you where I sat, where I said to you that if it wasn't paid for by the council, or if the council didn't want to put money into it, it would be paid for independently. End of story. And you, Steve, sat there and said that wouldn't be necessary, quote unquote.
I said that wouldn't be
That's what you
necessary.
said to me.
Well, it's all on,
No, it wasn't
Wasn't.
recorded. The meeting here was not recorded. But, you know,
What do you mean it wasn't recorded?
you mean when we can sat here in no public?
no, the one, the thing that's recorded, in the October council meeting, it's recorded.
The meeting where we sat in here after that, post that, what?
I haven't been to a meeting after that.
No.
After,
We
after
didn't
the
have a
October
meeting here, it
meeting.
was a private meeting.
No.
I haven't had a meeting since the last October meeting in here.
Okay.
I think we had one before.
Or maybe before, before we had a private
Long
meeting.
before the September meeting.
Yeah, it was well before September meeting.
Because the last two meetings, we've had that lovely friend from Micklesham.
Jeffrey Stanford.
That was before, so with a private.
Right, I'll just, I'll withhold standing orders a minute. Jeff?
Yeah, I'm just saying it was the last parish council. I've got it all on video that you put this plea in, and thank you very much. My concern is that the report Stephen helped with, I think the guy got the brief wrong, or it wasn't made absolutely clear that we really would like somebody to stalk around the site to, you know, absorb what's exactly going on. Then the idea was that he would look at what action a surveyor, to lessen the cost of a surveyor, that the village people or the parish council would employ. It'd be a consultant's view of the issues that are current, and what would be the main action for the surveyor to go in, rather than spending days there measuring every inch. Just go in and say, okay, sea levels, bang, 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 thresholds wrong, this is wrong, which they are. Then that would lessen the cost for everyone involved. The original quote was, I believe, £800 plus VAT, and I believe that's gone up to £1,600 now, is that right? I can't remember. I might be speaking out of turn, but I think I am a member of Village People, but my brain isn't up on everything, sorry. I think that because we're not getting the brief, we would like to argue that. But it's up to Anna and Paul, really. They're the brains of the outfit. And as for the survey, I've written to the head of Rother and the head of planning, saying that in front of Councillor Groner, Mia, Paul and Anna, myself and Chet's, that she promised to have a site survey. And she spoke to Kimmy about arranging it. So I've pushed her on this, and she's come back and said, no, I'm not doing it. So, yes, correct. So I'm hitting her again tomorrow with, you know, another request and also a complaint. So hopefully that might have some pull on rather getting their act together.
Okay, can I ask the people that are dealing with the market garden site, have you seen the original letter that went to planning that was done in 2017 and sent by head of planning of this parish council, Stephen Ledbetter?
Yeah.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's quite an extensive report.
Yes.
Well, I'm moving away slightly, but it clearly shows that Rother take no notice of what we put down on planning reports. So why did we do them? No skylights. Why did we put it down? They're not taking any notice. I have to ask you again, do the parish council want to get involved? If we do, and we do get involved, and we raise this money for this quote to be done, that is not the end of it. We can't raise the quote because we don't know whether or not the surveyor can get access to the site. Okay? If the access does not happen, you're just wasting £1,600 for nothing.
So, just to clarify.
Just to take a second, yes sir.
the £1,600 was for the advice from the planning consultant, ASP, nothing to do with the building survey.
That's correct.
Right, sure.
Lynn is on the right point here. My proposal is a generic proposal for the village people to spend on getting advice on a number of areas. And those advice would be, in my mind, number one, planning, number two, building, which are two totally different things. It's very important not to conflate these issues. If you speak to the planning department, there are issues there that have nothing to do with them. So for instance, the pathway, the footpath, which is now being built over by General Fairlight, has got nothing to do with planning, it's got to do with highways. And they will say, planning will say, nothing to do with us, it's to do with highways. Now, when I attended the meeting at Robert, it was for my edification, really, and learning. But the third area is to get advice on legal matters, whether they can make a challenge to any of these things. You're not going to get that from anyone in this village. You'll get it from a barrister or a solicitor. So my proposal is not for a specific project such as a report, it's for general support for them to use on a number of different areas. And the fact that we're dancing on what this cost was or what that cost was is not the general point of the proposal.
It is if you want the parish council involved.
The general point of the proposal is that that's the three areas that they may want to spend money on. Now, if you want to drill down into which those.
But that might not be enough.
Well,
that may not be
it
enough.
may not be enough.
I know for a fact that this guy that's supposed to have measured the height of the building has measured it from the wrong place. Yeah? I know that for a fact. And it's metres out. So to say 2 or 3 inches is all that's there, they're wrong. Okay? I know that for a fact.
See, sorry to interrupt. Rother was saying this much,
Right.
but it's
So,
It's still wrong, yeah.
so the reason that I wrote.
Hang on, I'm bringing it up, sadly. No,
Sorry, let me just finish the point. So, at the meeting, the leader of the planning department said that Lloyd Exley's report would not be made available. The question was asked of her, how would it be made? She went only on a freedom of information report. I asked Andrew Meir to actually ask for that freedom of information. He specifically instructed me to do it as a freedom of information. Now, as a public person, anybody can apply for a freedom of information. You do not need to be a parish councillor or anything. Anyone can do
Right,
it.
but at that meeting,
Yes.
you are here and you've said action agreed by meeting of the 3 councillors. You are one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, but you can't do that sort of thing. You cannot go to these meetings under parish council and say, yeah, I agree to doing that. You cannot agree that.
Steve, the reason
It just cannot be done.
The reason I sent those minutes was for transparency. Now, no one has written back to me and said what you just said. We've waited to be a public meeting.
Right, and this is the first time today that I've seen them.
Oh, is it?
Right,
Okay.
yes. That's what I mean.
It's the first time we've seen it today.
Yes, I haven't seen them before. Nobody else has seen them.
I haven't seen that.
They have not been sent to anybody. Anna sent these to
Okay.
me. So the parish council do not know about this.
Well, this is something I would imagine at the parish council meeting or the finance meeting. But that's, I'm new to this, so I'm doing my best to
Okay,
support people.
Okay, Lynn.
I just want to clarify 3 things. So you're suggesting 3 surveys, 3 reports. One, a planning advice as to what planning can or can't do now.
Yes.
One, a building survey as to what they have done and what should have been done on how much is rubbish. And one, a legal report.
Those are the 3 areas. Those are the 3 areas that I think that would be viable uses of monies.
And so far, we've got the planning one, is that right? That's what you've asked for?
That's
from
correct.
ASP?
Now, when-
That's what we've
That's
got.
correct. Now, just to take the point that Steve made there, which I think is very important. Steve just said it's a fact that the building is X height.
That's
No,
the building one.
It is. The planning department has said, through Lloyd Exley, who is supposed to be a building surveyor, he said that no building is higher than 10 centimetres higher than it should be.
But that,
Specifically.
we're talking building again.
That's a building question.
We're talking
So
about
how can you
buildings,
challenge
not the
that
planning.
unless you, that's correct.
Steve, can I-
Yes, you go ahead, Lynn.
I'm very supportive of the village people, don't be wrong, 100%. My biggest concern is we find all this information out, and Rother District ignore it.
And that's a
That's
possibility.
massive. They
That's not
just
possible,
go,
that's almost a
okay,
guarantee,
yeah,
just, I'll bring you in a
3
second.
metres too high, okay.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? We're not going to take the house down, we're not going to do this. I think the only way that we can perhaps, avenue that we have left is perhaps the Gambians, is that building on the left-hand side, the duck house, is the only one. What action will, if we find out they're too high, they're in the wrong place, they're not going to move them, they may have a mandatory fine of a small amount.
Yeah, but they won't have a fine, who's going to have a fine? Gem Select?
Jen's electorally,
No, sorry, but you don't know Gem Select. This is probably his 46th
Jen
company.
Select, I think at the moment,
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody who already thinks that it's now been sold over to Future Homes.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's,
Future
That doesn't
Homes
surprise
number
me.
14, I think,
Mm.
because the guy
This is
who
his,
sorted,
this is his 46th
yeah,
company.
sorted, Jeff is now is Future Homes, not Jen Select.
well, that's been for about the last 2 years.
So, but yeah, they were the people who were actually going to market it. But what they do is they transfer the funds across, and then Jen Select have no responsibility.
Yeah,
And
right.
then Future Homes will
Would dissolve. Dissolve and become Future Homes South East Limited.
To my knowledge, they already done that since the start.
I think they have.
Southern Homes,
So I don't think Jen Select.
then there were future homes.
Yeah.
One was a sister-in-law and the other was a brother-in-law.
And one's a fish shop owner.
My big question, Steve,
Yeah.
is if this, I'm led to understand that this building site could possibly be signed off almost imminently. So once it's signed off, you know, you're saying it would then, any complaint would come under a civil matter?
To become a
instead of
civil
that?
matter, yeah.
So what's the point?
Well, six have been
In some way.
signed off already.
Correct.
And who signed them off? Was it Southern
District.
Water?
No,
I don't know the
planning.
person.
Pardon?
I don't know the person.
Okay,
signed off.
because it said originally that the planning office said, and it was, and don't quote me on this because I've probably got the words back to front or inside out, but I remember reading that no house could be sold or signed off until Southern Water were happy that the sewage and the rainfall water off
That's
were
correct.
right. So it means Southern Water have signed 6 off then.
6 off.
I've
I've seen it on an email from someone.
Yes, no, that's correct. The planning department said, at the meeting with Rother, they said that it would be signed off by the end of October,
Yeah.
by the planning department.
By
Planning
Southern
department. Hold on,
Water.
let me just finish the sentence. So planning department, however, the building control had to then sign off the site. They've signed off 6 of the development, and I think it's the 6 on the northern
terraces.
side of that, yeah. So they've signed off 6 at building control. But if I can just disagree with you marginally, the pathway, which has been effectively brought into one of the curtilages, is part of the highways. Now, this is where it gets really confusing, because planning, building control, highways and waterways are 4 different issues, and any one of those can have an impact on the development. Does it stop, if the Gambian blocks aren't agreed, it doesn't stop them selling plot 1, apparently. And that's what the planner said. Now, you know, forgive me, and I'm quite happy to put my hands up and apologise for some procedural issues I've got wrong. But I've tried to communicate, which is what I've tried to do, and I'm very happy, which I did at the last council meeting, to give a full report. And at the next one, I'm happy to give a full report about what's been happening and going on. And please understand that the officers that were at the Rother District Planning meeting were Councillors Meir and Councillors Groner, and I was invited literally the day before by Councillor Groner, would I like to attend and see what's happening here at first hand? I said I'm more than happy to do it. Took a day out of work to do it, didn't have to do that, to support the village people and this parish council. Now, I made no commitments, there's nothing signed by me at that meeting. But, and I'll repeat the issue, the chief of the planning department said you're only going to get this report by an FOI, and I wrote to her Now, you know, I can do this as an individual, write to her and say, I'm doing a freedom of information on this report. Hasn't been produced yet, hasn't been adduced. So, yeah, that doesn't exist. And you're right, Steve,
So when,
you can't get onto the site without Gem Select's approval. That's absolutely true.
so when did you ask for the FOA?
We've got it. Steve, if you had asked me this before, I would have looked through my email and I would have checked it out.
Okay, don't worry.
I'm quite happy to tell you.
No, it's okay.
Quite happy to do that.
I think we've knocked this into touch, and I don't know the answer, and I don't think anyone around here actually knows the answer of what to do. All I can say is, does this parish council want to get involved? That's up to you to decide. If you decide yes, then we would need to ask for access to the site by a qualified surveyor.
For the building
For
survey,
the building survey. We would have to ask for the access for the building surveyor.
not for the planning and not
Okay.
for the legal.
Right, just building surveyor.
Yes,
What if they say no?
then you can do it externally.
But you can't measure properly externally. I only know one person around here that can. And if he's given the right equipment, he will do it.
Sure.
I wonder, by the time this goes on, if the site will be open,
Oh, I wouldn't be too surprised.
so you can just walk in and do it anyway.
May I ask a question? Can I ask a
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, there you go.
What outcome does the village people want as a result of surveys, etc.? And what do we want as an outcome for the community as a whole?
From 2017 to 2000 and whenever it was, Stephen Ledbetter passed away, he was fully involved with the Market Garden site. From the day that he passed away, the ex-parish council did have some involvement. The chair, I believe, went there on several occasions, but those several occasions slowly dwindled away until such times as I believe it was perceived that there is nothing else the parish council can do about it. I think at that stage, it was probably after that the village people became in existence. So it's up to that point, the parish council were involved, albeit weekly, maybe, I don't know, I can't answer that question because I wasn't there to do it. And the Market Garden site people have taken on board the fact that everything is, I shouldn't say everything, but there's an awful lot wrong. All right, there's an awful lot wrong. Their management plan, to start with, wasn't adhered to. It just wasn't adhered to. Curbs were broken, grass was dug up, vehicles were driving the wrong way in as they wanted to. But a lot of these drivers are foreign drivers, so they don't understand. They come down Broadway and expect to turn right to the site, and that's not the way. I have to say that the signposting is quite poor. It's all wrong as far from my point of view, but that is only my point of view. It comes back to the fact is, what do village people want of us to do? If they're looking for us to pay that site, that bill, then it has to come under the auspices of the parish council. They will not be able to do what they currently do now. We will not go out there and stand in front of a lorry because we're breaking the law. We will not do that. Village people can do that as they are at the moment. Yeah, agreed, they can do that as individuals. We can't do that as parish councillors, whether we're out there not with our lanyards on or whether we have got our lanyards on. We can't do that.
Don't think anyone's asking them for that, are they?
It's been asked, and it's been muted in the past, because I've heard them say about it, that we should go out there and we should stand in front of the lorries and stop them from delivering, stop things from happening there. So I know it's been going on, or it's been muted, that that's what they want to do. Danielle, what? Sorry, go on now, please go ahead. Yeah, well, yeah, we can ask Jeff.
I think there's possibly just 3 people that are deeply affected by this, and that's Josephine, Malcolm, Guy with solar panels, and Betty at the other end. Everyone else, it's been a major inconvenience. The houses are far too high. They've got no privacy, no light. Everyone knows this, so I won't go there. But I think we are pushing Rother and asking you guys for a conduit of help into Rother to do some action due to the fact that they haven't had any staff at all, really. 2.5 people working on hundreds and hundreds of planning applications.
Right,
It's all been rubber stamped.
Right, but on that point, that's their problem, not ours.
Right, I appreciate that. I think that,
Hang on, just...
I do apologise. Pondfield, I think, is going to happen, and I think that this parish council and Rother need to have used Market Garden as a prime example of what's going to happen unless people like you and Rother do something about it. I understand that you're tired and you have budgets and whatnot. The people around the site do not have any money at all. They have nice houses, but they don't have any money at all. I don't have any money. We live on £500 a month. You know, it's ridiculous. But I put everything I can into getting this site under control. You've got bad builders that have been very personal to me. We're using Market Garden as a lesson on how not to proceed on the next one.
What are you trying to, what do you want us to achieve?
I think...
We do all these things, and we pay for all these things, but supposing they went ahead, what is the end result that you want that is achievable?
Personally, I don't... I'm not affected. I moved in knowing this is going to happen. The houses are too high.
Village people, what do the village people want?
I can't speak for all the village people because I go around and ask them what they want, and they want slightly different things, and it's all personal what they want. But what we want is... Sorry?
What the animal poor want in these surveys?
I think you would really have to ask them. I'm
Right.
sorry, I'm not pushing that.
Can you send an email to Anna and Paul and say what is it that you're actually looking for?
Sorry, Josephine has been promised a 12-foot fence by Rother. That never happened.
A 12-foot fence?
Yeah.
She's on the eastern border.
Yeah, she's... I mean, people come out to new houses and they're literally 2 feet higher than a 6-foot fence.
Right.
Looking. She's got no privacy at all. The builders at the moment having to go at the children and things like that. Malcolm next door, his solar panels are literally wiped out most of the day. He's 90 odd, and he cries when he talks to me. He's got no privacy at all. Betty is a total wreck over the thing, nervous wreck. Josephine's had a nervous breakdown over it.
Okay.
It's an impact, and it's an impact that we don't want other people in the village to have when Pondfield, or whatever you want to call it, is going to happen, which it probably will.
Yeah.
I think the houses should be lowered, personally, knocked down, lowered.
But clearly,
Yeah.
6 have already been passed, and another 6 is likely to happen pretty shortly, and there'll be nothing you can do about it anyway.
You know, we see so much other properties being knocked down due to the sake of the width of a peanut. Tower blocks in London being taken down because they're built slightly in the wrong place.
Yeah, but we're talking Rother here.
We're talking Rother. They're 2.5 and 100 cases each. They're not going to do anything. We appreciate it. This is why I'm putting in a complaint, and I urge everyone that's involved around the site to do so. We don't want to teach. I feel we don't want to teach Gem Select a lesson. We don't want to bully them into doing things correctly. We just want them to stick to their plan that was approved. And we found out recently that they're building on plans that weren't approved. So, you know, it's
not the first
it's a
time.
mess.
It's not the first time.
No, of course not.
I just keep, my brain keeps on harping back to what Carl Maynard had said, and that is, until you write or force the head of robber.
That's what I'm doing.
Right, but
You're
that's
not
where
gonna
your
get anywhere
FOI
with
should have
planning.
gone to. Not head of planning, head of robber.
Fine.
And I did mention
very
it.
happy
I
to-
did ring and I did tell Anna that the FOI, because I knew that it was being done, I didn't know you were doing it, but that's irrelevant. But I did tell Anna that, as Carl Maynard has said here twice,
Yeah.
once from this position and once from over there, that you won't get anywhere by sending it to the head of a department. It will sit on the desk and eventually rubbish will go on top, his fags will go on, his light will go on. It has to go to the head of Rother, because he has to deal with it then.
Okay.
He cannot do anything, so it has to go there.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
I've actually done that.
that's fine.
so-
You've done it.
Yeah.
But can I just do with respect, there's no one around this table, none of us, who are professionally qualified as planning, building inspectors or legal. And the way you get this is by getting advice from people who are qualified. And my proposal is about using the monies to get that advice. If the advice says nothing you can do, then there's nothing you can do. If the advice says there is something which is actionable, then you pursue that action. And you know, I'm not a planning expert, even though I did that at the university. I'm not a planning expert now. But what I do know is that the way you get advice is through professionals who can provide that. That's my proposal.
Do we know what the planning report said?
Sorry,
Do we know what the report from ASP said?
I haven't read it. I haven't read it yet.
Still not available.
Well, I thought you said it had been produced.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet.
Well, who's got it?
It's been sent to Anna and Paul.
I've not seen it. Their last one was they haven't had it.
So they haven't had it.
Well, if they had it, they haven't read it. I thought they'd be on it like a
Oh, it's
flash.
got
I
it.
think I said, Lee, that it was delivered yesterday.
Oh,
It
right.
went to them today.
Oh, right.
I have said that in this meeting.
Yeah.
Where
So,
is it
you know, I
delivered?
think our expectations of
Anna.
people reading a report which is probably 15, 20 pages long, and, you know, we've got to be a bit reasonable.
Fair enough, yeah.
We've got to be a bit reasonable.
I'll be honest and lay my cards on the table here. I am very wary that a lot of public money could be spent to prove something which will not be actioned.
You have no results. I'm really concerned. I mean, I'm a member of the village people, I support them totally, not personally, but I support them. But I'm really concerned as far for the parish council that it's an open-ended check. And
It's what, sorry?
it's an open-ended check, and we're not going to actually physically achieve anything.
I think it runs, personally, I think it runs very deep. I think there's something we don't know about with Gem Select and Robber, to tell you the utter truth. He gets away with murder, and he always has for 40 years in this area.
Exactly.
There's got to be more behind the scenes and we don't know.
I think some of these
But another point, and Sarah might remember this, when the houses went up in Two Sawyers,
Yeah.
a bulldozer actually hit the forge with a grade 1 listing on it.
Yeah.
Then they had to be totally destroyed by the same JCB before the building inspector to get there to say it's unsafe. And then lo and behold, the developer built 2 extra bloody houses on it. And I believe he got a £1,000 fine. That's the sort of thing, that's the sort of thing I'm afraid.
There's been an awful lot of questions
We're up
regarding
against.
bother planning for a very long time, and I've also heard that there's an awful lot of questions down at Rye about what another building company has been up to.
So,
So they are all over, and there's speaking to Tim, or I think the messages with Tim, he said there's another lot that's gone off over at Ticehurst. There's a big, they've put in a complaint against Robert. over
Mm.
I
there.
think there's a lot of corruption going on.
So there is an awful lot of
There's a legal action that ties us to
Yeah,
currently, isn't
But
there?
we are not,
See, I think
I believe Westfield have got problems as well,
yeah,
because their clerk is, but, and it's no disrespect to Daniel, but their clerk is on the ball. And there's more than just than what you see face value
yeah,
with regards to
Yeah.
Westfield.
absolutely.
See, I tend to agree with Lynn that it could be it's an open-ended thing. This is going to run and run, and it could cost a fortune, and we don't know what village people actually want to achieve. You know,
That's what I'm
it
saying.
seems to me there's a litany of complaints about various aspects of the development. What would they want as an outcome?
Well, that's what I'm
And
saying.
we don't know what they want as what they would accept as an outcome.
That's what I don't understand what these reports would achieve.
Well, if I can, let me answer that then. The answer to that is, a report will tell you what is actionable and what is not actionable. And then, see, if you, and I'm going to repeat this statement, there is nobody around this room qualified to say what down in Market Garden is actionable. None of us. And it's all very well us sitting there saying, we know for a fact it's too high. Well, we can't prove that unless you've got professionals proving it. And the only way you get those professionals is by paying for them. I disagree it's open-ended, because if I said, I made a proposal, if you turn around and said, no, it should be 5,000, then the village people can decide which of those reports are significant to them. It can't be open-ended if we decide, if you decide, a specific amount of support.
With all due respect, it would be, because at the end of the day, we'd then be we feel morally liable.
Yeah, I hear that, I hear that.
And,
Yeah, I
and
hear that.
therefore, the pressure would be on to just a bit more, just a bit more, just a bit more.
You're spending the money of the village people.
Yes,
Or the residents.
Sorry,
The
thank you,
whole
the residents.
The whole village residents.
if there was a report that said there was these problems, and of course the Bob would then go and sign it all off, and it becomes a civil matter, then would not the individual
Yes.
Yes.
houses then be able to claim under their, say, legal expenses, and they've got their own legal expenses, to take those matters forward, because those problems are going to be specific to each different homeowner?
Yes,
yes,
yes.
It wouldn't be a royal, it would be Fairlight
So
Parish
it has to
Council.
go, yeah, no, it wouldn't be us, but if those reports with written quotes that came through the council, and, you know, depending on how much and what they were likely to achieve, could be, you know, agreed, and then we say, well, we do that, and then it's,
Yeah.
then it has to be, it becomes a civil case, and it's not us.
Nothing to do with us at all then.
Again, we've got a problem, is because I gather the original quote, you said, Stephen, was £1,000, so, or 800 plus VAT, so £1,000. And the idea was somebody coming and having a look vis-a-vis the plan, is that right?
No, they didn't have to come and look for the original proposal, or the first proposal, for a planning consultant to look at the documentation that exists and to say whether there is anything actionable in the work that's taken place with the planning process.
Right,
Not
so-
to do with the heights of the building
No.
regulations element or the legal element.
So
Because
they-
then, yeah.
So how would they know what's taking place vis-a-vis the planning if they didn't come and look at it?
Because it's all documented.
By film and photographs, you mean?
Photographs, documents,
Yeah,
reports,
but I
planned
gather
documents
it's
from the
now-
council.
It hasn't been £1,000, it's come in at £1,600, which is, you know, that's what worries me.
Well, that-
From the point of view of the village people, and I'm pretty sure it's upset Anna, that all of a sudden, you know, you've got a 60% hike.
Well, if you want to be specific about that, I got a quote which was very clear. The village people decided to add bits to the request to the planning consultant, which is what resulted in the increase in cost. So I know what the original brief was and what the original quotation was, which is what you said. But how that changes was outside of my control. So yeah, that's a specific, but as I say, my proposal is that we support 1, 2, all 3 of those reports to be produced for them to make a decision on further action. And that's my proposal.
I thought that they rejected the £1,600.
I don't know. I don't,
Well, unfortunately, this parish council doesn't know either.
No.
And this is purely from an email that I had today. That the person concerned alleges that the £1,600 isn't what they want. So whether there's a
you can't
commitment to
ask a consultant for guidance. They give you guidance, then you say it's not what you want. You can't ask for an answer which is predetermined.
Sorry, has this £1,600 report been done?
The report has been. Can I just? Now I'm going to. Can I say this again? The report was delivered yesterday. It's been sent this morning to Anna and Paul.
Delivered to whom?
Anna and Paul Wilson.
Well, how could it be sent, if it's delivered yesterday, then Anna and Paul would have had it yesterday, and now you're saying it was sent
delivered.
today.
It was delivered by email to me yesterday.
Oh, to you.
I was out of the office all day yesterday. This morning I had a meeting on the War Memorial that took all morning.
So as far as I understood, it was going straight to Anna and Paul, but it's come to you.
It has come to
And
me,
then
and then I forwarded it straight on.
That's what I didn't understand.
Sorry
But
to,
this was agreed. This was not, this report, I don't know if we discussed it or not, was not agreed by the parish council to be done.
No, it's been agreed by the
Been
village
agreed
people.
by the village people.
So this is why we're asking us for,
Correct.
for a grant and whatever. This is what
Well, we can't award,
Well, I know.
well, we can't pay that
Well, that's what
retrospectively
Steve's-
without knowledge.
This is what Steve's really saying.
But then there's more money that is wanted, up to £10,000 in, possibly £10,000 in total.
Which was proposed in writing to every member here on the 1st of September 2024. So please don't say no one knew. This, and I've got a copy of it in front of me, you can all have a copy. 1st of September this document was sent round, so, you know.
I remember seeing something.
Well, it was sent on 1st of September, so you've all had that. But if anybody says they haven't seen this documentation, they have. You know, let's not pretend this has been done in some sort of vacuum. This has been sent around. We sat here, we discussed it at the last meeting, and if the council does want to support it, that's fine. But the proposal is on the table, and it's for the council to make that decision. In my submission,
Right. As far as I'm concerned, £10,000 isn't going to be enough. That's my opinion.
you say it isn't going to be enough.
It isn't going to be enough. It can go on and on and on and on.
I believe it will be enough, and I will justify that statement, and I would say if you put a
Are
full
you going to
stop.
put your money where your mouth is?
Yes,
Right.
and not only, Steve, sorry, because you've made that challenge,
No, I'm saying, are you going to put your money where your mouth is? Because I'm saying,
let me just finish what
I'm saying, and
Yep.
I will finish.
Yep.
I have been on the parish council for 4 years previously,
Yes.
up until 18 months ago,
Yes,
and I haven't seen one recommendation from this parish council being taken in notice of by Rother Council whatsoever. None. Even my next door neighbour has put an application in, and he's asked for it to be done again. Again, there was one or two comments made, nothing bad about it, but they haven't acknowledged any of that. To my mind, this council does not work with Rother. They just don't work with Rother. We are wasting our time putting pen to paper to fill it in. Even the residents that put down, and we say all residents notes should be taken into consideration. I don't have any proof, but I don't think they have.
yeah,
I don't think they have. Skylights are still put in with no blinds. Yet that is the main thing that's done.
I hear that.
Right, we are responsible for the residents of this village and their money, and it should be spent properly. I can't put my hand on my heart and say that putting £10,000 away for a specific market garden site is going to be enough. I hear what you say that it will be. I can't guarantee that, and I'm sure you can't guarantee that either. Because if one comes back and says, you've got all of these, but you're not going to be able to do do anything with some of these, there's £1,600 or whatever it is that's just gone out the window. And that's your money, my money, and the rest of the residents of this village. So I come back to this, the main question is, from your point of view, you would like to see £10,000 put in the kitty for the market garden site, yeah?
Yes.
I have to ask, does the parish council want to get involved with the market garden site? We were, and then we weren't, and now we're being asked to be involved in the market garden site again. If we are, then everything will have to come through the parish council.
Yep.
They will not be able to do anything.
Yep.
But they have no group.
Yep.
They are just a collection of people.
My proposal, I think, first of all, we write to Gym Select for access to the site. If that's no good, then we write to the head of Rob District and see if we get access then and then take action. So we don't spend any money initially.
You right with that?
Because if those two are no, it's dead in the water, isn't it?
I believe that's probably the case, yes.
I would, forgive me disagreeing with you, but
That's
I'm going to
right.
make a very specific point, and that is the highways issue for the pathway that goes on the western side of the market garden site is a highways issue. If that is built over and post hoc, people say we're going to challenge that, it can be ripped out because it's a highway. It's a public footpath which has been approved as a public footpath. Now, it doesn't affect me as a person in one iota because I won't walk on that road. But for the old people that live in the gardens who can't get across because there's no footpath,
No, I do live there.
I know you do, but that's why I'm making the point to you. At the last meeting, it was Jeff that made a specific quote about the disability width of a path. So, you know, it's not just about the height of the buildings, it's not just, there's a lot of issues there. And so I think that anyone saying it's dead in the water, I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong that they may not pull the buildings down, but I do believe there are a number of issues that can still be addressed.
But the people who are doing the fencing have not put the nails in deliberately because they expect it to be moved.
Exactly.
All it affects is a bit of the garden.
Maybe it may affect the veranda, may affect the patios, may affect the fencing, may affect the roadway.
No, it's about 18 inches.
But can I ask a simple question? Has anyone, either yourself, Stephen, or the village people, written to highways and complained?
Not again, not as a councillor, because this was prior, I was parking the car and I walked across the road and there were the highways people there. And I mentioned to them about the fence for the access and that I'd written to Gen Select, hadn't got a reply, and also about the pathway. And they said, it's a public road and it needs to have the access done. And highways would take it away. At that time, Councillor Mears turned up. How he knew about it, I don't know, but he turned up as well as clipboard and then engaged in a meeting with them, which I then left. But I understood from a later conversation with him that they were going to plan to move that fence back. Gem Select then, on their own accord, moved the other fence, but highways are aware of that particular that problem. Whether they do anything about it, and when I spoke to Henry Myers, he said, you'll notice that they don't put the nails in any of the fences because they expect them all to be moved. And that plot, that effect, has already potentially been sold. The one with the sold ball.
Has it been sold or is it just a sign?
Well, probably not sold, but potentially.
But we don't know that. We don't know do you know that as a fact?
That
it's been sold?
No, only from, no.
It's got a border, that's all.
Yeah.
So I mean, anyway.
That's just employed by the people that are made.
Yeah.
And I know Made, the guy is a fairly genuine guy, but he's got people with him that go around and put the boards up, that are paid to just put the boards up.
Yeah.
He may very well have put the board up in the wrong place. There's just too much, as far as I can see, unknown.
Yeah.
I just don't know. But that's not for me to decide, that's down to you. if you want us, if
Well, I propose that we write to Genselect first. If we get no joy, we then write to the head of district the Log District,
yeah,
and then by that time we'll be on our next meeting, I assume, November, and then we perhaps then can make a decision about finances, because it may be a no or it may be yes, go ahead.
We can't make a decision tonight, anyway.
No, no, but we can do those. We can still write to Log District and Genselect.
You still can't.
I know.
The finance, don't you?
no, finance don't have the bits and pieces to do that. It has to be done at a full parish council meeting. Yeah, why not? Go ahead.
Is that I'm fully behind village people, and I wish we could give them more money, as much money as they want, but I'm very concerned that there's an awful lot of the village residents who are not involved, who are not affected, who are probably not even aware of what's going on. And if they suddenly find out that 10 grand of their money is suddenly wandering off on something that they knew nothing about and doesn't affect them at all, and they couldn't frankly give a damn, that's not going to go down well.
Until the next site comes up, then there will be.
We're talking about the Market Garden site and village people.
Yeah.
We've already been down the route of Pondfield or whatever you want to call it. But this parish council did an awful lot of work.
Yeah.
I didn't, but I do know that the chap that lives next door, and I can't remember his name, he lives next door to Pondfield. He did an awful lot of work, as did the Cosmins.
Yeah.
They did an awful lot of work, and they all went to the meeting and they got it all kicked out. However, I do know that the Secretary of State, I believe, has said that there is nothing that will not be looked at again.
Sure.
So we know that that's going to happen.
We haven't heard on Bairnsbourne yet.
No, I've not heard on that either. No. So we can't put a proposal to, the proposal will have to go to the full parish council. We can't do that here. We can only mention it to parish council. However, what we can do is we can do what Leah's asked, that we write to the Gem Select or Fusion Homes, whoever they are. Somebody needs to tell us. I would assume Anna, maybe Paul will know. I don't know. I will ask them tomorrow if they know who it is. And we will write to them. If we don't get an answer from them, or whatever answer we get, we will write to Head of Rother. Stephen's already done an FOI, which has gone off.
Yeah, and I'm quite happy to redirect that to a third party.
It should be redirected to the Head of Rother.
Very happy to do that.
Okay, fine. If you get anything back from them, would you please let the rest of the councillors know?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So, where are we?
Number 9.
Thank you. Yeah, I've lost my page.
We're going to put it onto the full agenda, the agenda for 26.
We'll put it on for the agenda for 26, but if we haven't had a reply on that, then there won't be nothing happening on the 26 either.
Okay, so I'm writing to...
Right, to Gem Select. Yeah. We'll do that one first, and then we'll wait for the reply to come back, or no reply. Give them a week, which is fair enough. Week, yeah, fair enough. And then write to the Head of Rother, ask them the same questions and tell them that we've already asked the Head of
You need to tell them that you're only giving them a week. You expect to reply within, it won't have any effect.
No.
At least you told them then.
Right, number 9 was, you did agree, there was a couple that didn't reply, but regarding the laptop, desk, chair, printer, etc. Yeah, that's 9. 10, Lynn, Sylvan, Lloyd. Oh yes, thank you. The old computer, which is currently run by Steam, you put Coke in the back and patches at the lights to fright it. It's got plenty of disk space, but it's so slow. It was purchased in 2018, which makes it 6 years old. In computer terms, that's quite old, really. And we did have I would like to know whether or not you would like to ask any group within the village whether or not they would like that, and the big A3 printer as well. No, we're not doing A3 stuff. There are plenty of people in the village that have offered to print anything A3, so there's no point in us keeping it. Danielle doesn't have the room in her office to put it. We're talking this size. Well, you know, you carried it. It's this size by this size. Yeah, it won't go in the bedroom. Jackie might have something to say about it. So, do you want me to ask the village what's going on with that? See if anybody's interested?
Yeah.
If they want to make a donation.
It will be totally and utterly 100% emptied.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy for it to be donated to a good village cause.
Yeah, okay. It'll,
Deserving.
if 2 or 3 of them come back, then they'll come back to the parish council meeting, and the
Yeah.
parish council will decide where it should go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's the donation going to go to?
I don't know. Who's the parish council decide?
Oh, right.
So let them decide.
So we're asking for the group that we give it to give us a donation.
Well, yeah, to give a donation to a worthy cause. But it'll be down to the parish council to decide which one gets it. Still funding.
Yeah, we're going to have to defer this, I think, because I've got to November, to the full parish council meeting. But we do need to think about what we want to put in to the SIL application. I really can't understand it, but this is the expression of interest form, which I will pass to Steve for Danielle, but I'm sure he'll have. And it is saying here the interest in contact, and it's saying just what provision we're looking at, what we're thinking of, location of it, amount of SIL funding required, and the estimated total cost. So we need to think about what we're talking about. So are we talking about bus stops? Are we talking about something?
Benches,
Benches? Are we?
bus stops,
are we thinking-
refurbishing notice boards.
Can I ask people to send emails to Danielle, please, because I'm sure that'll keep you.
Just helping you along here.
Right, but what you've got to remember is that we've got £46,000 of SIL money to spend on those particular things.
In the next 5 years.
And yes, but that's where it needs to be spent. Yeah, so this could be something like the new project, the pavilion, okay, which was high on the list, but 165 people of 169 people that said they'd heard about it. You won't get it all, but you could ask. I'm not certain that it's not match funded as well.
It is match funded, so.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
this is not our SIL money, this is Rother's SIL money. So in other words,
So
they-
Market Garden, Rother will get something like £265,000 for that. We get, as a parish council, because we don't have a neighbourhood plan, we only get 15%. If we had a neighbourhood plan, we would get 22%. Okay, so, but there are stipulations to what that SIL money can be spent to. But this is to put in a request for interest. So if we wanted £100,000 for the new pavilion, it is match funded. We would have to find £100,000 to match that to get it. Okay.
Okay, and it says here the rural sub-fund, which is us, as in, because Rother is now the mob in the rural area, and Bexhill. So Bexhill's got their pot, which is nearly £250,000, but the pot for the rest of us in the rural, the sticks, is 940 grand. So that's what we're bidding for, is a sum of that, but we need to match fund it. And that's what we're looking at. So we're not just looking at our own SIL money, we're looking at Rother's SIL money. Can we send this round to everybody so they can study it? Give everybody study it, haven't they? And that's the word.
That's the
and
application
that's the
form.
application form, yeah. And that's mine.
If you could reply to,
When's the application going to be submitted?
it's
Well, I've got to-
29th, isn't it?
Yeah.
29th of November?
Yeah.
Yeah.
28th.
Yeah, 28th to 29th.
So we've got agreed projects by then.
well, we've got to do, well, we can agree projects on the 26th, but we need to match fund it. So if we're asking for 100,000, we've got to find 100,000. We've got to find that from somewhere to match fund it. So we get 200,000 for that whole project. Yeah.
So we've got to decide that on the 26th, by the
We've
26th.
just got to put in an expression of
Of interest.
interest, so things that we would like. So that's why we're. You're all right, have a good time. Ask Daniel to send that, send that round to us so we could all put our thinking caps on and come up with something for the full parish council meeting, whatever.
No, I'll show you that in a minute.
Extension there.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
so we just what we need ideas as to what we might do, bearing in mind it's 940 grand going missing and going. But we're not likely to get a large proportion, but a little bit, you know.
Anything to help the pot.
Yeah.
Okay, right, move on. Number 11, to discuss transferring NatWest and Unity Trust account over to online banking. We currently work in the dark ages, this parish council, we're writing cheques now. We spent £2,000 on second class stamps year before last. Yeah, that's just second class stamps. And it will be going up, yes. Danielle works at her other place, she works at Icklesham. They are in the 22nd century in Icklesham. They have Unity, and they have another account as well, which I can't remember, but it's irrelevant. What we're asking is that, and this will go to ratification at the parish council meeting in the 26th. But what we're asking you is your permission, shall we say, that we take it to the parish council, full parish council meeting, to change the Unity Trust account to an online account. What that means is Unity and NatWest will have a batch of cheque signatories. Lynn is currently one, Stephen is one, I will be one, Jeff will be one. What they will say is you will need two signatories to authorise that payment. Danielle will get the payment in. Instead of waiting as we do till nearly the end of the month when we sit down there and write out all the cheques, fill in the form, she can pay it.
No, it gets sent, so you'll get
Yeah.
a request
To
coming up
pay
in
it.
your emails, and then you just click on the link, it takes you to the website, and then you can authorise it
Yeah.
online, so it's
So,
just done
so
like
that's that's what happens. So that's what we'll be asking. I mean, everybody's here at the parish council meeting now. I'm not asking you to say yes or no, but that's what we want to do. All right. We've made tentative inquiries. NatWest. We don't need to change Unity. But what it means is the invoices come in and they can be paid, you know, without sitting around waiting for things to happen all the time, which is what we do.
And save the postage.
Yeah, they say £2,000 of payroll, of that and paper. Okay, so we'll take that, we'll put that down, we'll take that to the full parish council meeting and get the finance and admin. I presume finance and admin are quite happy with that, yeah, to move on?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. No, I don't know, just let me read it a minute, because I can't read upside down. Thank you, yeah, it probably is. Right, we currently, we want to discuss to transfer the payroll company. We currently pay a company £308 a year. The new company charges £120 a year. Daniel is already registered with them because they deal with Icklesham. It makes sense as far as I can see to go over to them. I know it's only £200, but if we make £200 here, we make £200 there, and etc., it all adds up, yeah? So can I say that we'll take that to the parish council and that happens as well, okay? We have a quote for the filling up, it's filling up the land drain. There were 3 quotes, which I don't seem to find. Yeah, thank you. We have 3 quotes, 2,460, 1,450, 1,560. The people that we normally use are the people in the middle. We're quite happy with what they've done in the past. I would recommend that that's where we go and not worry about the others. Maybe we'll think of those when we need other things done. But as far as I'm concerned, we should stick with that. The middle one's 1560. That's just to top it up with the stones. Okay, this is all net, by the way. It's not gross. Yeah. 1450. So it's £90 out. Oh, yeah, £90 difference. Yeah.
110.
Whatever. Yeah. But as we don't. Danielle knows about the lowest one, but we know about the one that deals with most of the work that we have done here. So, can I recommend that we stick with them because it needs to be done ASAP because it is dangerous. 14. Oh, grass cutting. We had the grass cutting on the fields and around the Meadowway, etc., etc. We can have 2 cuts a year, which are free of charge. This is done by East Sussex County Council, but don't run by countrymen who do the job for them. Or we have to have a minimum of 4 cuts, and that is a minimum cuts of 2 extra. But if we want to go down the route of doing it ourselves, we have to have a minimum of 4 cuts. Yeah, I think, what did we have last year? Was it just the 2 cuts?
2 cuts.
Yeah, it's just 2 cuts. So it's one after a bit of growth to start with, and then one, a little bit before the end of the autumn. Residents do complain, but those that complain normally go out there with their lawnmower and cut the grass outside the front of their house.
The survey, I sent a quick email around to everyone. I'm wading through the survey returns, which no major report was done on back in 2023.
Yeah.
Verges came up quite often about how untidy they were. But to be honest, 3 years ago we had 2 cuts a year, and it was a horrific growth season, and they were terrible. This year's only been 2 cuts, and the growth hasn't been anywhere near as bad. So it's 6 of one, half dozen the other for the cost.
So where are the verges? Is this throughout the entire?
No. This is just mainly. Yeah, it's the Cove.
Yeah.
It's mainly Waits Lane, Meadow Way. That's about it.
That's it, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Meadowway that normally
Doesn't know where that comes.
No roads. Yeah, no roads. It's not a lot.
Is there any way, we're booked for 2,
Yeah.
is there any way that if we find that, I think we told you earlier, this year was hardly any grass cut at all? And a couple of years ago, it was
Yeah.
there.
You should tell the guy that's just come and cut my grass. It's been 6 times already.
So is there any way that we can say, okay, we're down with 2 cuts, but we've got a lot of problems, can we get 1 cut in or not? Or do we have to commit to?
No, as far as I'm aware, you have to commit now.
How
Yeah,
do you know?
you have to commit now.
Sorry, Steve, what are the options again they're saying? 2 freebies.
2 freebies or
Or 4.
Yeah, 4 a year.
And what's the price of that?
2,000 something or the other.
When do they need to know more?
This month. So it can be done.
It's usually only ever brought up at 4 parish councils.
Yeah. Yes, but it's because there was a cost involved.
Yeah.
I'm just aware that you said that some people go out with their lawnmower and do it themselves because when that was really raised by the Sandy and whatever, and I suggested one thing, people do it themselves. Do you remember all the
No, people always have done
I know,
it
but no, all help brothers, because Pauline said they're not allowed to do that, not come
Oh,
from
yeah.
insurance, and we got.
Right,
I think that's the way it
so-
should be. It would save the country so much money if everybody looked after the fact that pavement, parking, whatever, it's outside the house.
Right, option 2 was extra cuts. Parish town councils may fund an additional 4 cuts to be carried out by East Sussex County Council, totaling 6 cuts in all. So you go from 2 to 6. The 2 is £2,622.75.
What,
That's,
Four
right,
extra
sorry,
cuts.
that's option 2.
That's for option 2. Or you can do the self-delivery, in other words, do it yourself, find somebody on the sit on Loomar and go around and do it. And they will pay you £1,311.
Yeah. But as Lee said, there's nothing stopping us having 2 and then paying countrymen and contract people who are covered by it.
No, that's right, we can.
As a
Yeah.
not linked to the Sussex County Council.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'd be quite happy to do that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Do that.
So, okay, we will go with 2 with that then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go for the 2.
Okay. Right,
Well,
so,
that arguments in the parish council meetings about this in the past, I can't be bothered to go there again.
right, it's over to you, Jeff, 14 for the
Very quickly, I can't get this damn screen working. I've produced a budget, which I will basically do a bit long.
Can we send that to everybody?
I did send, no, I didn't send the spreadsheet.
No, I think I did.
Oh, you did?
I've got it.
I thought I sent it.
Well, why can I see that version, please?
This is the one that you have sent round before.
Yeah, the one I've sent round before,
Yeah.
it runs very, very, very similar,
All right, I haven't got that.
except for there's a little bit more on salary.
Oh, no.
Steve says he.
Well, that's nothing to do with Danielle, that's to do with the British government and national
Oh,
insurance.
yes, yeah. Definitely, yeah.
I think that is the only change, that the one I sent round. But I'll just go through a couple of bits verbally. No, I sent the verbal one round, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Has everybody read that?
Yeah.
Anyone had any questions on it?
You went through it just now anyway.
Gone through that
So,
one.
okay, yeah. Otherwise, at the moment, I think the crux of the matter is, there's 2 points really I've got to make, is that one, this isn't cross-reference, which we're hoping to by now, by Rialtas, but by January I'm quite sure it will be, won't it? Say yes. But however, because of some little things in the way Rialtas might work it, we've got such an odd year with the big email reserves going out and then a gap of basically 2 months non-expenditure. I don't think Rialtas' normal programme's going to throw up.
They are changing it.
Particularly accurate one.
There's an update due to come through very shortly.
Yeah, but it won't take into account that we've had an under expenditure and certain
No,
lines
no, no.
very
Yeah,
easily.
practically what we could do is we could just look at whatever they're saying and say, well, that's rubbish,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of the problem, and
yeah.
then we get it from there.
Yeah, so what I do, I'll
3 years.
send round a simple spreadsheet version, an Excel spreadsheet version. I'll do it tomorrow. And if you want, you can play around in the last box or in any boxes, you know, the boxes, and you can get an idea and we can talk in more depth about it in November. But I think that the point to remember is that, you know, so far the workings do show that we can reduce the budget by about £20,000 on last year, which I'll be the first one to say, and I hope you people would support. That's going to be very welcome in Fairlight.
Can I not knowing what was last year, do when we produce the budget and it's posted, are we actually going to say we've done this, this and this?
We didn't last year, but we
I think it's because it's nice to know where people, well, we've saved 10% on this.
Well,
We've
well,
saved
I think-
We can say where we've saved.
yeah,
if I may-
that'll be-
if
I think
I
we'll
may-
actually
Hang
look
on,
at the
just a second.
website.
Hang on, just.
If people look at the website, for the first year after this was raised, first year ever, if you go on the website and go on the financial documentation, well, you go on, you know, where the grants are and everything, for the first time ever, you will see exactly what you're asking for, which was done last year by the last parish council. And we'll definitely be doing it.
Yeah. You should.
The problem is the website is universally advertised on Facebook every month. You know, people can go to Facebook and say, oh yeah, there's the agenda for that, and it takes them off and it goes to the website to get that document. What people then do is close it. Instead of using the arrow, which is on the left-hand side, that then takes them back to the website itself. There's loads of stuff on there. There are days when there are just 4 people who've gone on that website, 2 of which are me.
The other 2 are probably me.
Oh, there you go. So it's a matter of education.
Yeah.
The website is okay. It's doing the job, but people don't like it. Maybe there's too many pictures on there, with of the village and whatever. They get distracted and forget what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know what the answer is. If I go to a website, I press the button and I want it there. This website at the moment is running slow. Right. I just wish the whole deal was just.
I'm sorry, Chet's is an accessibility queen. She did a PhD in it, so she would be happy to make people point in that box or
Okay.
whatever links. I'm
Well,
sure.
I've currently got Graham looking at
Yeah,
it,
Graham's great.
and he's already come back with solutions of what to do, which I've implemented some of them,
Okay.
but I've got other things to do, so I can't do them all.
Yeah,
I need to
just
check to make sure things
saying the
work.
demographic and the of this village.
Yeah.
Chet's is an expert in especially even blind people. She could
Okay.
get use internet. So I'm
Okay.
volunteering
No.
her help. But
Okay, yeah, I'll bear that in mind, and
Yeah,
we'll use it when we come to getting around to doing that. Thank you.
Lovely notes here. Christmas crackers.
Oh, she's talking to herself, it's right. Okay, so,
Yeah, well, obviously the latest spreadsheet I've done's got nothing to do with dish and
that's
Christmas cracker for next year. So I'll send that out tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Don't have notifications on, so I will be pinging it at about 5:30 in the morning.
That's all right, I'll be on.
But I would like to say thanks again for doing study work. Very good, excellent, thank you. Anybody else got anything to say? Because we're past our time and we should only have a meeting for 2 hours. It's gone a bit.
It's a good job in your ex-vice chair, because she's diabetic, she needs to fix something.
Right, well, I'm not, so. Anyone, no questions?
No.
Okay, right, thanks very much. End of meeting, close the meeting, 9:02.